It's out of here! Home run, Lenny Dykstra!
Stairs rips one into the night, deep into right, way out of here.
The Phillies win the game on a base hit by Mitch Williams at 4:40 in the morning.
Swing of the miss, struck him out! It's wacky, wonderful. Bunch of throwbacks has won the National League pennant.
The 1993 Phillies in spring training, it's pretty easy to break the team down into two categories. And it's the two categories that the team in 93 is pretty much known for. There is the levity and the intensity. And when I talk about intensity, as we talked about last week on the show, the 1993 Phillies went out of their way to try and win more games at spring training. However, that intensity level swung in the other direction sometimes, and they actually had 3 bench-clearing brawls in spring training, which seems like a lot. And I had planned to talk about that today. And part of that is probably, some of the stuff some of the people were, injecting into their butts at the time. Their names rhyming with Shmeny Schmeichsmra. That maybe they were all riled up, and maybe I've heard that in science we learn injecting yourself with more hormones or just performance enhancing drugs of any kind can lead to shifts in mood changes. But that's neither here nor there. The point is the intensity level was so high they actually had 3 bench clearing brawls in spring training, and I had planned to talk about this even before today when we actually saw probably the most intense moment of the 2018 Phillies spring training when Tom Hallion ejected 5 people, and that was enough to get people being like, wow, that's crazy. We just had a 20-minute conversation about how much umpires suck because of that happening today. Can you imagine having a podcast in 1993, which I guess back then was known as a conversation between 2 people in public, about the day after the 3rd brawl had happened? That just seems like I can't remember. I know I've seen a few bench clearing brawls in spring training happen, but that was clearly a factor in their game. And I thought that was pretty interesting. There was one brawl in particular that I wanted to talk about. A guy named Donovan Osborne, pitcher, I think for the Cardinals. Yeah, for the Cardinals, because the Phillies and Cardinals were they were pretty at each other's throats this year in 93. So Donovan Osborne throws at Ricky Jordan, who Pete Incaviglia says is the nicest guy on the team, which is really fun. The nice guys on this team, Dale Murphy, they all were said, he's this great guy, he's this nice guy. He fit in, even though he was not like the others, and he wound up being traded to the Rockies, I think, before the season even started. But Ricky Jordan was one of those guys on this team, and I think they were all a little more protective of him because he's
he's nice. He's a genuinely good guy. Don't ruin our good guy.
People outside of this clubhouse like him, and that makes him different.
Small children don't cry looking at his weirdly shaped head.
Parents don't pull children's arms away when they ask for his autograph after our games, like they do with some of the players. No, but that happened in this game that led to a brawl. But that was an interesting aspect of this. But the most interesting aspect of this was Dave Hollins, who, if you were going to make a chart of one end being the levity side of the 1993 Phillies and one side being intensity, the furthest to the levity side would be Larry Anderson's face. Even though he was capable of getting it together and going out there and pitching them out of an inning if he had to. And then the intensity side would be Dave Hollins, who was capable of breaking character and laughing with them occasionally, but is mostly known for being insanely intense. And I don't know how aware of this you are, but Dave Hollins had an evil alter ego he assigned to himself named Mikey. His middle name was Michael. And I think it was Milt Thompson described watching Dave Hollins in the batting cage, and if he just wasn't connecting with the ball as much as he wanted to, he would start getting very, very, very upset. That was his intensity level. And Milt told him, I believe it was Milt Thompson, he's describing an incident where he said, oh, yeah, Dave, you gotta just calm down, man. It's just BP. And Dave Hollins looked up at him and said, "It's not Dave, it's Mikey."
God, he's a serial killer. My God, he's driving me crazy. It's that's terrifying.
That's something a doll that's come to life would say to you. Oh my God,
it's Jockey Tina. I can't. Wow.
Yeah. Larry Boa, it said that Dave Hollins, quote, rarely smiled. Larry Boa said of Dave Hollins, if you had 25 guys like Hollins, they would all have killed each other by the third week of the season. Larry Boa said that about somebody else. This isn't even like old and tired Larry Boa. This is like, a couple decades ago Larry Boa. He's still he could still do a couple angry backwards handsprings when he wanted to. But yeah, that was that was a little interesting. Dave Hollins, to that note, Dave Hollins did say, I would love to have a blast, sing, and be happy all the time. It just doesn't work for me.